Hello and welcome back to another episode of Strong Collectors Comics. My name is Jordan and I'm joined today as ever by my plucky co-host Dakota. Today we're going to be taking a look at some animated shows. Now we love comics, we love live action, but we have a very special spot in our hearts for animated shows, particularly from Marvel and DC. So we've compiled a list of most of the ones you think of, at least a lot of the ones that we're pretty familiar with, and we're going to be doing a ranking of those shows from top to bottom.
So when I put this list together, I tried to put like everything from I think Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends is probably the oldest thing on the list. I don't know that
Mm-hmm.
I've watched anything much older than that. Sorry for you old folks out there that think there's something better from before him, but that's as far back as I went. And then I've got as far up to current as I think Harley Quinn is still on right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I tried to have a good mix here. I've also got a category for haven't watched it because there may be a couple on here that Jordan and I both have not seen. I mean, we may still rank something even if we've seen only a couple episodes or heard chatter
Right.
about in the groups or with other friends or fans. Should we just go
We,
kind of
yeah,
in order here, Jordan?
I'm down for that.
Okay, so we're starting with the newest, I think, and that's Harley Quinn. I don't know if you've
Okay.
watched much of this, have you?
Right out of the gate, Dakota, I gotta admit to you, I've seen some clips, but I have not watched any.
Okay.
I know you enjoy it, I think?
Yeah,
Or no?
yeah.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
not quite caught up on it, but I've seen at least the first. I don't know how many seasons they're up to, but I've seen at least 2 seasons of it.
Okay.
It's pretty funny. It's definitely kind of one that's not like anything else on this list.
Mm-hmm.
None of these other like Spider-Man, Teen Titans Go, none of these are dropping f bombs like Harley Quinn is.
Right.
Um, so kids probably shouldn't watch it, but as adults, I think it's pretty funny. It's definitely no S tier show. I would. It's so hard because it's its own thing. It doesn't
Right.
follow any of these other things. I'd maybe give it a
Just
B. I feel like it's
okay.
better than a B, but just like
I
out of all the other things,
it's
you know
up against some stiff competition, so I
right.
think a B
Yeah.
might be fair.
Okay.
I'll trust your gut on that one.
Okay. I do recommend you go watch it if you haven't seen it and you're of the age that you can watch those kinds of shows because it is funny.
Okay.
Young Justice.
Young Justice. That's another one that I know you've watched a lot more of than I have. I've seen
Mm-hmm.
more of that, and I've liked what I've seen. I know it has a pretty big following. Where do you go though? Do you go way to the top with that?
I've seen all of it,
Okay.
and I think I would put this at an S tier. I think as far as modern shows go, this
Mhm.
is pretty incredible. It's got kind of its own stories. Like I haven't read a lot of the like Teen Titans when they're kind of older like this, but I think they do a good job of kind of creating their own story arcs and not having to necessarily follow, or if they are following actual comic stories, it's stories I haven't read, but they do a really good job. They're kind of
Yeah.
like weaving in different things, a lot of different characters that aren't really, I wouldn't say like A-listers. Like you're obviously not having like your Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman. Like they'll show up occasionally, but it's kind of more geared towards the kids, and not even like the Teen Titans kids, which is another good show that we'll get to eventually. But
Right.
I would put this at S. I don't know if you need to talk me down, Jordan.
I
Commenters,
mean,
you can feel free to let me know if I'm out of my mind on any of these too.
yeah,
I'll put a link to the tier maker. You can make your own if you would like.
that's right. Yeah. So, man, I mean, I've heard people really, really like it. It seems like it takes kind of characters that wouldn't be as popular, maybe, in mainstream and made some pretty cool stories with them. So,
Mm-hmm.
if that's where your heart's taking you, Dakota, I will go there with you.
All right. I'll give you some leniency on something you think is
All
an
right.
S later on down the road.
Yes. Next, we have Justice League Unlimited, which for me, I'm feeling as an S right away. I grew up with that one, watched it a lot, probably maybe even more than the original Justice League.
Mm.
But I thought they did a great job with that show of just working in so many characters, and it never really felt like it was there just to be there. Like they always
Mm-hmm.
fleshed out these cool characters, a lot of them that I wasn't too familiar with.
Okay. So I think, all right, if we're going to do S, and they're very similar shows with Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, are you saying that Justice League is below an S? Because I feel like we've got to have them on different tiers,
I
even
I
though they're
would
similar.
I would say I'm going to say yes. Yeah, I don't know if that's
Okay.
controversial. I guess we might hear about it, but that would be my
Yeah,
feeling.
I would love to hear the opinions on that. Is the original better because it paves the way for Justice League Unlimited, or is Justice League
Hmm.
Unlimited able to kind of flourish a little bit more than the original? Because I think the original was good too, but like I agree with this one. You've got the
Yeah.
entire cast of. I mean, obviously they're not using every single DC character that ever there was, but you get some of those. Like I remember loving the episodes with Vigilante and Shining Knight, and
Right.
I've never seen either one of them in comic books that I've read. I'm more reading DC
Hmm.
or Marvel anyway, but like they were using some real D-list characters in a show, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah,
So I think
I
S is
agree.
totally fair for this one.
Okay.
Next up, we've got Batman: Brave and the Bold. Have you watched much of this one at all?
I have seen some. It was kind of more. I wasn't watching as much animated stuff as it was coming out. To me, it always seemed more kid
Hmm.
oriented. So I maybe that was just an animation style thing for me. Um, I mean the ones that I've seen, like I watched it with my nephew and stuff before. I thought there was some like a good. I would say again another kind of entry point for younger kids to kind
Hmm.
of start seeing some of these characters.
Yeah,
This definitely isn't one to me. I'd be like, I'm going to sit down and watch at this point, though, for me,
yeah. It seemed like
which
there
would
was
make it a
maybe
little
like
lower.
even though it's kind of like that really kid animation, it seemed like there was some like adult humor mixed into it. Is that? Am I remembering that right?
I don't know. I mean, maybe it'd be kind of like some like yeah, like a SpongeBob style, like a joke you maybe
Sure.
get more as an adult. I could see that.
Yeah.
Again,
Because
I didn't watch tons of it, but yeah, maybe.
so where does that put? Because you've probably seen more episodes than I have. Where does it put this on the list for you?
Yeah, I guess we're gonna see. I mean, we got a lot of good shows on here, Dakota.
Hmm.
For me, I'd go like a C to be honest, but maybe
Okay.
I'm being a little mean.
Yeah. Comments. Let us know if this is accurate or not. Because I agree. Like it's good and it's probably more geared for the kids. But as, what we've got coming down the road, I think
Right.
we kind of got to keep those top spots a little more open.
That's true. Okay.
Talking of top spots, where does Batman
Ooh.
Beyond fall? Because I think that's a lot of folks that now we're getting into
Hmm.
kind of like the classic '90s, like kind of our age and older, or even
Right.
a little younger, really like these era of show.
Yeah, I might need to save my S's, but I'd probably for sure go an A for Batman
Yeah,
Beyond. I don't know if I'd go
I,
S, but I think I can go A.
that's exactly what I was thinking too. I think, yeah, we got to keep the S a little bit more open for what's coming down the road. But yeah, it's
Hmm.
still a great show. I was it. This wasn't even in the comics or anything, was it?
No, it was more so just kind of doing a follow up for yeah the animated series and seemed to fit into that world, but yeah, doing its
Hmm.
own thing. So I think for that, that's pretty
Yeah,
impressive to create
for
that
sure,
good of a show.
definitely.
And I love the movie
Um,
too. The Return of the Joker to me is an all time
yeah,
classic. So
yeah. That was. I mean, maybe we'll do another episode ranking the
ooh,
animated
animated
movies.
movies. I like that. I love
Yeah,
it.
stay tuned for that.
That's right.
How about, I think this is Spectacular Spider-Man.
Yes, spectacular. I really like this one too. Um, I'd say this one's pretty high as well. Again, I don't think I'm going to go S, but I could go for an
Hmm.
A on Spectacular Spider-Man. I
Okay.
watched a lot more of this one with like my nieces and nephews growing up, and I really liked the way just they were doing the characters. I thought the animation style worked pretty well. I liked it. And that
Hmm.
theme song is quite great if you don't remember it. I
Yeah,
recommend
I
looking it
think
up.
I remember when this was just starting out, and I was kind of like, I don't know about this animation because I was more used to the '90s style Spider-Man the animated series. But
Hmm.
then I think they did a good job of kind of bringing it in, and the stories were
Yeah.
good, and it was fun. I think A
I
is
could be
a
talked down to a B if you're feeling that, but you know, we could stick with A for now
yeah.
and see how we feel.
I think we stick with A for now, and then maybe it is kind of on that cusp of like a high B, low A kind of
Right. Yeah,
A minus B plus type of category.
that's fair.
I think one that's a little, me personally, I've never fallen in love with any of the Fantastic Four shows. This one's kind of the newer
Yeah.
2000s Fantastic Four one.
Hmm.
Where does that rank for you, Jordan?
I really don't remember watching too much of that one, to be honest. I think maybe like portions of stuff, but I'd almost have to put that one in. I haven't watched. If you've watched more of it, though, it could go higher.
I think it was kind of one that because I think this was coming on around the same time as the Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, or maybe even like Justice League Unlimited time.
Okay.
And I remember watching a few episodes of it and just being like, I don't care. So that kind of makes me think it should be a C. But I also didn't stick with it long enough to like, maybe it really built up and was really good. So commenters let me know if I gave up on it too early, but I would say it goes into C category.
Okay. I'll let you do that.
Okay. A little bit more modern show next up. We've got Teen Titans Go, Jordan. What's your opinion there? Because this is pretty polarizing, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that it can be funny, like segments or clips, or maybe, again, my nephew I think he was real into it. To me, always felt disappointed after Teen Titans that they went in this direction, because I would have personally rather seen more of the original Teen Titans style.
Mm-hmm.
For what it is, I think it's good, but it's not really my thing. So, I don't know. For me, that'd be a little lower, probably. I don't know. I might give it a Rage C, but if you like it more, you can
A
bring
Rage C. I think I would bring it up a little bit just because it's not like it is coming off the coattails of the original Teen Titans, but it's not trying to be Teen Titans. Like it's not really an extension of it at all. It's just kind of its own funny kids, but like it's got a lot more of the like callbacks, because I think I just sent you a clip from Facebook the other day of they were kind of like doing like all the different Batmans from the movies.
Yes,
like,
that is true. They do have some funny jokes. Right. That's fair.
A lot of callbacks for real nerds, but it's kind of seems like it's geared more for kids. I would give it at least a B.
All right. I'll agree with a B.
Okay. Because it's not going to touch the S tier, but I think it's still good for what it is.
Mm-hmm. I think that's
so. That was a very modern show. Now we're taking it way back to Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
Man, I did love this one. I watched this one quite a bit, even though I had all the other shows at my disposal.
Right.
Yeah, there was just something about it, that I just always really liked. Again, another great theme song.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's kind of tough because it's just so far from all these other animations,
Mm-hmm.
What is your feeling, though? And then we can...
I mean, I feel like the nostalgia tells me to put it in an S.
Yeah, I wouldn't say S. I was going to say a nostalgia A, but...
Okay. I think it should be an A, because it's...
Okay.
I think it really... I mean, Spider-Man doesn't really, like, deviate from this too much in like, Spider-Man the Animated Series, so I feel like it kind of set the tone for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I liked the transformations of, like, I loved Iceman, like, ice blocking himself and then breaking out of it. I thought that was cool.
Like the team up element was really cool.
Right.
They're roommates. They had that sweet. Somehow their
Switching
beds turned into
right.
on his low budget
supercomputers
salary. I don't know how he did that, but it was cool. Yeah, and I would say you could argue that kind of set up the dynamic for a lot of like the animated team shows later. So I think an A is well deserved. So
okay, good. Hulk Smash is another one. This is probably the one that I don't think I've seen a single episode of on this list. I don't have you?
Yeah, no. I'm gonna
quick haven't
watched. I never got a good vibe from it, but if anyone has watched it, comment and let me know if it's worth my time.
Okay, how about the old Avengers, the 90s?
I really don't remember this one too well, Dakota. I always thought the designs were kind of weird, and I did not like the lack of, did not like the lack of who I thought of as like should be on the Avengers team. Did you watch this one?
I remember watching this one with my dad when I was pretty young. I feel like at the time it was fine because there wasn't really like a lot of other shows like brand new coming out each week. But have you seen the new Chippendale movie, like Rescue Rangers?
No.
They kind of have like they go to like a Comic-Con and it's kind of all the old cartoons that are like has-beens that like nobody likes.
These guys
they're like memed. So Tigra from this show is there. So I thought that was a pretty funny callback to like it was so bad that now she's here.
She's there.
I would give this a C. It wasn't.
I think that's.
I don't know. Yeah, given spotlight to characters like I know Hawkeye, Wonder Man, Scarlet Witch, I think Vision, Giant Man, and Wasp were kind of the team.
Right.
I don't know. I could go back and watch a few episodes, but I don't think this is one that I'd want to go back and sit down to watch the whole series again.
You
like
don't
some
want
of
to
these
stay
other
there.
shows. Yeah.
That's fair.
Where I do want to stay though is Justice League.
That's right.
So we said that it can't be an S. Does that mean it's just an A for you,
I
Jordan?
think it's got to be an A then.
Yep.
I would be open to people saying flipping Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, but I think either S or A for one of them is pretty fair.
And I think for me, like this set the tone for like my mind's eye of DC characters quite a bit.
Yeah.
Like I still like the George Perez art is also another kind of mind's eye, but like when I'm thinking like picking up action figures and stuff, that's why I really liked the DC Classics because I thought it kind of followed similar animation, like not quite to the extent of like the Todd McFarlane stuff where you've got like the super skinny legs with the big body. But yeah, I really liked this type of animation.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the great stories. I thought the characters were cool. I love that it's got Jon Stewart. Made me love him and Martian Manhunter for sure. Wally West, Flash, Michael Rosenbaum. I mean, come on. So yeah, that's an all-timer.
And when I'm reading the comics, I'm reading it in their voices from
of course.
this cartoon. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to.
This cartoon was a little after our time, Jordan, but I don't know if you watched much of it. Wolverine and the X-Men?
Yeah, I'd watched some, and I didn't. Again, not nearly as much as I did of the '90s show for sure. But I remember liking some aspects of it. I think it seemed to have gotten kind of cut off before its time, if I remember right. So maybe if it would have kept going, I would have watched more of it.
Yeah.
But
I think they seem to follow kind of more of a comic book like thread through it more than I think that X-Men the animated series did in the 90s. Like where that one was kind of just like bopping around all over the place. This one had a little bit more like.
Well, this one was the premise for like Professor X. Was he gone or died or I don't remember somehow?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, I'm
so
not sure
that
if it
was
was
kind
trying
of
to
a
be
cool
the
element.
continuation. Yeah.
Well, they kind of removed him and like they were doing their own thing without him, right? So that to me was always a cool idea. And I thought
kind of had the like astonishing X-Men vibe.
Right, and they gave Cyclops a trench coat, so
yeah, so you know he's cool.
He's look cool. This one I'd be okay giving like a B.
Yeah, I think you're right. If this could have gotten another season, it probably would have like continued to build on what it had. But yeah, it's not this show's fault that it got canceled. But
yeah,
it does got to stay at a B because we've got better stuff for X-Men. I think.
Okay.
And speaking of better stuff,
X-Men animated series, Dakota. I'm gonna guess you're giving this one an S.
I think it's got to be an S. Because
I'll be controversial and say an A, but if you want, I don't think it holds up as well as like Batman animated series and even Spider-Man animated series. I would dare to say.
Okay,
that's a hot take.
I think I do agree with that because I think I've tried to go back and watch a few episodes and I was like, oh man, I kind of remember this being better than this. And I think that's kind of that, like I was saying with Wolverine and the X-Men, where it kind of had that through line story. This one was, I mean, maybe there was something there where you'd watch like 3 episodes were kind of all linked together, but it was like, otherwise it was kind of just story of the week and it was all self-contained, which is good in some ways, but
I mean, yeah, I think again pave the way for a lot of animated series and my love for the X-Men.
Right.
But for me, I'm gotta save my S's. I'm trying to be a little sparing.
Okay. I think that's fair, and I think you've talked me into bringing it down to an A.
Okay.
Rage in the comments if you think that's necessary, folks.
Maybe.
Because
I might be totally wrong.
I think that's totally fair. Because again, this is another one. When I'm reading the comics, it's these voices. When I'm thinking of X-Men, it's in these costumes. So.
Yeah.
Bam.
Again, another great theme song, classic characters, some very good stuff. Nothing against it.
Yeah.
I'm just being. This is difficult. I realize as we're moving along.
I think if I was making my own list, I'd give it an S. But I understand your points, and I'm willing to put it at the A. How about the Hulk animated series?
Yeah. I'd watch some of this one again, not nearly as much as some of the others, but it never quite gripped me the same
Hmm.
way. I like the Hulk, but again, I remember even then it's kind of like how much to me are you doing with the Hulk in every single episode in that show?
Right.
I'd probably go more. Hmm. I was thinking a B, but maybe I should go lower. I might even go a C, but you tell
Yeah.
me. Am I crazy?
I mean, I was kind of thinking C also, just because, like you
Yeah.
said, it's how much of a story. Because I think Hulk is a little bit more like you kind of got to do a little bit more grown up stories with him to
Yeah.
make it really work well. And maybe
Hmm.
that's where Hulk Smash comes in with like a more cast of characters other than just Hulk. But yeah, with
Yeah.
Hulk as just the main character, I don't remember. I definitely remember watching it all, but I don't think I was like nearly as excited when that was coming on as I
Hmm.
was with other shows.
Yeah. That's fair.
Teen Titans, Jordan.
Okay. Ooh, this one's kind of tough. Because if I mean, I love Teen Titans. Watched it a ton. I
Hmm.
thought it had a great tone, cool characters. Made me really love Deathstroke or
Yeah,
Slade, I suppose
very
we
true.
should call him. I know you loved Red X. I
Oh,
mean,
I love
yeah,
Red X.
Cyborg, Beast Boy, the Titan Tower. Ooh, now I'm talking about it. I want to say an A, but then it's like I'm saying it's the same as Justice League and X. But I think that
Jordan, this is an S.
it's an S. Okay,
Oh yeah,
you're
it's
going
an
S
S.
tier. Okay.
Because I think this is one that it's similar to Wolverine and the X-Men, where with Wolverine and the X-Men would have gotten more seasons, it would have gotten cooler. This one
Okay,
really built on itself and got cooler as it went on. It didn't like
that's
ride its
true.
own coattails. It kept pushing. It added
That's
in more Teen Titans.
yeah.
I remember this. I was watching this. This must have been, I think, before you got to the Christian school with me,
Mm-hmm.
because I remember like the whole class was watching it, and then it got to whatever the season finale was, where like they're like fighting Raven's dad,
Trigon.
Triton,
Yeah.
Trigon, yeah, and like then the whole class was like, oh nope, we can't watch this anymore. Like our parents banned it,
Oh,
and
because
it's like
it's the
because
Satan
he's like a
stuff. Got it.
yeah, he's like a
Yeah,
demon or the
demonic
devil
or
type of
whatever.
thing. I'm
Yeah.
like I'm like, okay, first of all, this is a cartoon,
Right.
and second of all, Teen Titans are gonna beat the bad guy at the end of this. So like, isn't this
Just
kind
like
of
Jesus.
Christian anyway? Yeah, like we're watching them beat up demons, so seems similar to Bible-y type stuff. But anyway, I don't know. I was just like, this is dumb that we can't watch this at the Christian
Right.
school. So I was like, anyway, I still think
When
this is an S.
Dakota
That's just kind
started
of
to deconstruct religion in front of the
a
fourth
right.
grade class through the lens of Teen Titans.
That's where it
Yeah,
all
okay.
started.
You know what? Now that you're talking about it, you've talked me a little bit. I'll agree with the S because
All
yeah,
right.
this one. This is one that maybe I'd like to go back and rewatch too, but I
Hmm.
remember it was pretty solid.
It
And
had those super goofy like anime
yeah,
moments, but then it also had the more serious stuff, like you said,
right.
like Red X was like a serious one. It
Hmm.
had, it was, it had
Yeah.
like a
Oh,
full
dude, you make me
array.
want to go back and watch Teen Titans now.
I I would go back.
I
and rewatch
recommend
Teen
you
Titans.
do.
It's good. I mean, I think you should watch Young Justice first, since you haven't watched it all.
Okay.
Watch the
All right.
watch it
That's
all for the
true.
first time, and then go back and watch Teen Titans, and I think it'll be pretty fun.
All right.
Avengers,
Okay.
Earth's Mightiest Heroes cartoon.
Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Did you watch much of this one?
I didn't watch much of this one at all, so
Okay.
I'll have to defer to you on this one. I've
Yeah,
heard really
so I
good things
didn't.
about it.
Right. I didn't at the time when it was coming out. Again, it's another one where I don't think I right away loved the animation style. So I went
Hmm.
back a couple years ago and we were just watching through them. And I do think they do a pretty cool job of weaving in, again, a lot of different like comic plots. They do some cool stuff. This might be the one to make you like Kang because Kang
Mm.
has some great moments there. And yeah, I think it's pretty good. There's some of it, at least like the Iron Man stuff, was a little like Robert Downey Jr. You know, we're trying to
Mm.
get in on that esque thing, which I get because
Okay.
those were popular at the time. But I remember watching some of it being like, I think again as it went on, it hit its stride a bit more. But it got pretty much every major character and iconic, you know, Ultron, Kang, they had Galactus, like kind of the works.
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
ooh, this is gonna be intense though, because if I say it's an A, then you're gonna be like, whoa.
No, I from what I've heard other people say, I would totally believe that that's
Okay,
true.
then I'll go with an A. I'm gonna give that one an
Okay.
A. But yeah, I think
Iron
you should
Man the
check it out.
animated series. This one's you haven't watched much of this one, right?
Not really. It's another one that I think when it was like my options were X-Men, Spider-Man, Batman, I never really went to Iron Man, the animated series, much. I'd
Hmm.
seen some, but didn't hook me.
Yeah, I think I like the style of the characters in it, and I like the cast of villains, like with especially Dread Knight, even with characters like Sentry. I thought he was pretty cool. I don't know if he's much of a comic character, at least not in modern comics, I don't think, but
Mm,
I thought it was a cool design as a kid.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, as far as like, choosing what I'm going to watch, Spider-Man, Batman, Iron Man was pretty low on the list. But I don't
Hmm.
know if that does that drop him down to a C? Is he a B?
We're gonna have to have some lower ones, Dakota.
Just
I'd
give him
say
a
B or
C.
C. I think
Let's give him a
C's
C.
fair. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
C.
Let us know in the comments if we just need to go back and rewatch this. But I don't remember being blown away by it, and yeah, I like the
Hmm.
look of the armor. I like that
Hmm.
style. But anyway, I
One
really
that I
liked.
oh wait,
Hey, I really like Spider-Man Unlimited. How about you,
yes, I
Jordan?
oh yeah, I like this show too. It was weird, like even as a kid, I was like, this is kind of weird, but I liked it
Hmm.
where you had like the Animal Planet was kind of cool, and
Yeah.
what they did with the Green Goblin, right? Because he's kind of like his ally, isn't he?
Right.
He's more
Yeah.
of like a
He's like a
I,
pal.
I yeah, and this to me was like one of my first true experiences with like an Elseworld type thing, where it's like it's not just a what if Spider-Man did this. It was like the whole thing is Spider-Man's not in his normal environment.
Right.
And I thought it was pretty well done, and I liked his costume too. That was cool to see. I think he had a
Yeah.
toy that looked pretty, where he had this
Mm.
look, and um, yeah, I liked it.
Yeah. I think that was probably my favorite look for Spider-Man as a kid, and I think that's kind of
Mhm.
stayed true. I mean, like obviously I like the classic red and blue, but outside of
Mhm.
that, I would probably say this is my favorite alternate costume for him.
Yeah,
I think this one, and if you watch our action figure channel, I love anthropomorphic characters, so this one hit all
that's
those
right.
like villain type characters.
Mhm.
You had Venom and Carnage, but then this one, I think similar to Wolverine and the X-Men, really got cut short where it left you on such a cliffhanger, and you're like, but where is the next season? Because I think this only
Mhm.
had one season, didn't it?
I'm trying to remember. I think it was similar to yeah. It did get cut off. I'd have to go
Mm-hmm.
back and see.
Because I know it
Yeah.
like ended with like Venom and Carnage like going up in the spaceship to like unleash the symbiotes all over the place, and
Right.
Spider-Man was trying to stop him, and then it's like it ends with them like launching the rocket. So
Sorry,
I,
kids.
I'd love if they came
Everybody's
back and like
dead.
I guess you just hope the Spider-Man saved the day.
Yeah, he usually does. So I'm
Yeah.
sure it worked out.
So where
Yeah.
does this put for you? Is this an A even though it's only a single
I
season? Is it an S because it's so like cool?
I'm gonna say A because I've
Okay.
got a couple S's still in the can that I think I'm
Sure.
saving up for. But I think A
Okay.
is pretty fair.
Okay, I think so too. I think that one is going to be similar to Teen Titans, a little controversial. I think there's some people that just hated that show. I loved it.
Okay.
I thought it was so
Yeah,
cool.
I'm right there with you. I also thought it was great. Okay, Superman the animated series. I right away want to go again. I didn't get super into this one.
I was going to
I'll
say I
admit.
forbid an S.
No,
It's
my gut was telling me a B, but I don't know if
mm,
there's the hardcore Superman fans that are gonna get mad. But uh,
yeah,
it's not that I disliked it. I just remember I'd
right.
watch it and kind of be like, all right, I don't know, what's the
Yeah, I mean when you look at the tiers
I don't
here,
know.
like you've got other good shows in the B category. I
Yeah.
think there are better shows in the A category. So I think B is fair again just because he's a super popular character. I don't think that warrants him being higher. I think he
Mm-hmm.
as far as like any Superman story goes, I usually like him better on a team with other characters.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked what they did with this version of the character building into Justice League and
Yeah.
Justice League Unlimited. So,
Hmm.
yeah. Okay. Fantastic Four, Dakota.
This is the older one, and I would say it's. Well, you had some like oddball characters in there. Like I'm pretty sure, like you even got like maybe even Dragon Man and
Mhm.
Impossible Man. Is that kind of
Yeah.
that green alien
Yeah, I
guy?
think so.
So I think
Mhm.
you had some of those kind of like characters that you don't see very often, which is cool.
Mhm.
But still, this was like an older animation.
I
Like,
I
not as
I
old
don't.
as Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, but Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends was way better than this, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I think it didn't quite do the like what we seem to like about even like X-Men animated series, where or a lot of these characters where you take the ensemble and really kind of solidify it as like this is the version of this. This is the way to do these dynamics. So I'd probably go C for this one, to be honest.
Yeah, I think so too. And maybe I need to rewatch it just to like get a refresher. But I remember when I was younger being like, I mean, it's superheroes, so I'll watch it, I guess, if it's on. But
Yeah.
I'm not trying to schedule it on the TV guide.
Not preferred.
Yeah.
Okay, now I think I know what you're gonna say for this one.
Yeah, but what do you say?
Um. Ooh.
There's only one season, so it's still ongoing.
That's
So it
true.
is kind
I
of
think
hard to.
I could definitely give you an A
Okay.
for sure. I that's the problem for me. Maybe if they do a second season and it's also great, then I'd say it's hitting S tier. But I don't think I personally can't go there at this point.
Okay. Okay. I would go there because I think episode 5, like I've told you a million times, best single episode of animation I think has ever been made. I think maybe I could maybe look real hard into like Avatar: The Last Airbender and find an episode there because I really like the like Blue Spirit character.
Right.
So even Red X, but I don't think that was near. Like I've never cried so often. Like I'll watch that tonight, and I've already seen it
you will cry.
I've seen that episode 6 times, and I'll watch it tonight, and I'll probably cry. So maybe that's just me, but if it hits me that hard, that's
Got to be.
got to be high on the
There's
list.
something there. All right.
So yeah, I think it's fair though because it's only gotten one season. We'll give it an A for now. We come back again after
Okay.
season 2. Maybe I can argue a S a little bit better.
Argue it up. All right.
Yeah. Static Shock, Jordan.
Static Shock. Another one that I think I remember seeing episodes of, and I would watch. I didn't know. I mean, because they created them for that, right? Isn't that right?
I think
thought-
so. I don't think he was a character before this because I think it's kind of like a. I think they were maybe going for like a kid version of Black Lightning or something.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I don't remember any of the storylines to this whole show. Like maybe the like pilot because I've seen that one probably the most often.
Yeah.
But I also remember as a kid just being like, this is the coolest show ever. Like I want to ride on the like shocky board, whatever he calls that.
Yeah.
I want the lightning powers. Like to me, this was the coolest superhero out of all the like. Even as a kid, he was cooler than Spider-Man, cooler than Wolverine, cooler than Batman. I loved Static Shock as a kid.
Wow.
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
think
know you liked him that much.
I again, like I think maybe what hurts this show is that even as a comic book character, it's not like he's super prevalent in anything. It's not like you would be like, oh, in the top 5 best ever DC stories, here's Static Shock among them. He's like pretty like D-list character as far as like putting him in teams or anything like that. So I think that's where I wish that they would do something with him, like give him his own series and like make it good.
Right.
But I don't know that they've ever really done that to a very good extent. So I think that kind of hurts the ranking. But if you were asking like whatever I was, 10, 12-year-old Dakota at the time, this would be S+.
S plus. Okay. Well, where's Dakota now?
Dakota now, I think I would put it. I do want to go back and rewatch it to see if it holds up because I think they were trying to do a lot of the like hip and like
Right.
we're all cool type
Might
of thing.
be
So
a
I don't know
little
if that would-
dated in some ways.
Yeah,
Might not have
yeah.
stood the test of time.
I don't know.
I'm
my
gonna
heart
hit it
doesn't-
with the B, but you tell
I-
me what you want.
That's where my brain was telling me Dakota put it at a B. It's a safe option.
We got to
for
do it, dude, because
My
we
heart-
got some other.
My heart breaks for Static Shock. Commenters,
All right.
please tell us we're super wrong on that.
Right.
X-Men Evolution, Jordan. How are you feeling about that one?
I'd watch this one a decent amount. I really did like X-Men Evolution. I liked the like. It was interesting seeing them go to high school. I thought it was fun to like have the superheroes in high school, or at least the younger ones in high school was cool. I remember specifically loving what they did with Nightcrawler. I thought there was some cool stuff
Yeah.
with him, where they flesh out when he teleports. Remember, he goes to like that other
Yeah.
dimension and stuff.
Like he goes through
Um,
limbo. Or I don't know if they
right.
called it limbo in the show, but
Yeah,
yeah.
whatever it was. And then Spike was cool. I thought Spike
Oh
was a
yeah, I
cool
loved
character
Spike.
that they introduced. I don't know, man. I think there might be an argument for this holding up better than X-Men the animated
Mm,
series. Maybe that's crazy. I'd have to go back and look and do an
yeah.
assessment there.
I think just like snap judgment, I think you're probably right on that of like this one will hold up longer than the other.
Hmm.
But at the same time, like I don't think the other one was doing anything so crazy where it was like it's gonna make it so dated.
No.
Um, but yeah, I do think that was kind of cool. Like I think Wolverine was the only one that didn't go to high school. Everybody else was in school.
Yeah.
Or maybe Beast too wasn't in school.
Yeah. I have to look.
Um,
Magneto was a little more fleshed out, and I thought that was
hmm
cool.
Yeah, I thought it was very. I was always upset that like Colossus and Gambit were bad guys on like in the Brotherhood.
Oh yeah,
That was always because those are like two of my favorite X Men. And I was like, what? They're bad guys, and I don't think the show
that's
went on
true.
long enough to give them their redemption arc that they
I'm
were
sure
probably
that
going
was
to get.
coming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I do remember. I mean,
Yeah.
Static Shock
It
was up
felt a
here.
little more
Spike was
like
right below
yeah.
that.
Yeah. I think looking back, it feels more like an Ultimate X-Men compared
Hmm
to like the animated series. So,
True.
um, but I don't know. I mean, I think in the grand scheme of things, we got a lot of A's, Dakota. I was thinking B, B
I was thinking
A.
it should be an A.
Yeah.
I would
Okay. Let's
bump
do an
that.
A.
I would bump that Spectacular Spider-Man down to get this
Yeah,
into an
I
A.
think you're right. I think I was a little too generous with that. Hit that
Okay.
one down in B and pop it up.
Okay.
These things change, Dakota, as we
All
go
right.
along. Okay, Batman animated series, hands down for me, has got to be the S.
I figured
mean,
it would be.
kind of the uh, quintessential animated superhero show.
Hmm
Just look at that poster. I mean, that poster alone is the coolest image on here.
Right.
But self-contained stories, but connecting to bigger things. I mean, just the vibes, the music.
hmm
They had guns in it. That was a huge thing. So
Yeah.
for me as a kid, I remember even noticing that.
But were they guns,
Um,
or were they like similar to X-Men the animated series guns, where it was more like lasers? Or
no,
was it
they weren't
actual
laser
guns?
beams.
It was
Yeah,
real guns. Okay.
yeah. That was the crazy thing about that show. And it was like always in dark and nighttime, which I always thought was
hmm
also cool.
Yeah. I
So,
think this does remind me that like I could have put the new Amazon Batman on here too.
ooh, that's true.
So, I don't. Let us know in the comments where that would rank for you. I think it's good. Again, maybe it's kind of one of those
Hmm.
one season type things. If we get another season, you could kind of
Yeah.
make a little bit more solid
I
argument for
wasn't loving that one as much as I wanted to. I'll admit,
Yeah.
Dakota. I hit
Oh,
that one with a B.
you hit it with a B. Okay, I think I probably
Yep.
would too because I've liked what I've watched of it, but I haven't even finished it. But that's also just because I don't want it to end, and then I'm not going to have any more of it to watch.
Mm,
So I'm kind of like pacing myself on it. And I know
conundrum.
there was another there was a continuation after this Batman the animated series with Batman and whatever another. Um,
Yeah.
and
the
you didn't like that one
continued
quite as
adventures.
much.
Not as much. No, I think the original is where it's at. But
Yeah,
s-
I figured
still
it was similar enough that we'll just lump it.
good. Okay, the Batman,
Um,
or not? Was it the
yeah.
Batman?
Yeah, the Batman. How do you feel about that one, Jordan?
Again, another one I didn't watch as much as I did of the original. I thought it was cool that they went with like a younger Batman. He seems a
Mhm.
little more inexperienced, kind of figuring out how things go. Definitely some kind of radical reinterpretations of the characters, which wasn't always my thing.
I loved it.
With like Bane, but I think Joker that was cool, where he's a
Yeah.
little more like physically
Mhm.
imposing. I remember the one where he fought Dracula was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was pretty
Maybe
cool.
that was a movie.
I think that was Batman versus Dracula was a movie.
Mhm.
But yeah, I did watch every episode of this. My dad would TiVo it for us,
Mhm.
and we'd watch it. And I think at the time I was kind of like, "What? This isn't what this villain is supposed to look like." But now
Mhm.
looking back, I'm like, "Okay, this was way cooler than what
Right.
like having Firefly with like a super fast like jetpack and stuff, like lasers
Mhm.
instead of just like a dude with a blowtorch. Way
Yeah.
cooler. I thought Mr. Freeze with like the iceberg head was so cool. Bane, I will say that's probably the least cool switch up, but still I thought it was kind of
Mhm.
cool to make him a little bit more Hulk like.
Right.
But again, it wasn't really like that Smart Bane, but they've kind of
Mhm.
not been doing Smart Banes very often in
That's true.
animation. But But yeah, I thought this one was really cool. And again, another one that the longer it went on, the more I wanted to keep going, because he was kind of starting to put together like a Justice League, I think, towards the end of it.
Yeah.
So I thought they would take a continuation of the Batman and make like the Justice League type of show,
Yeah.
which would have been really cool.
Alas.
It did not
Okay.
happen.
Where's that?
I personally
You
might
wanted
end our
to give it an
friendship.
A.
It might end our
Don't
friendship.
tell
I
me
think
you're
I like
thinking an S.
I like this more than the original series.
Yeah, you're a madman, but that's okay. Well, you're not putting it in an S, but
All right, it'll go in an A then,
all right. I'll
because
let you give it an A.
everything about this show was, I think, it doesn't hit the nostalgia points as much as the animated series, but everything about this Batman was cooler, I think. So,
Okay.
commenters,
That's fair.
let us know. I think
Yeah.
they're going to more so agree with you, Jordan, and I think they probably should. But I think that this show needs a few crazy folks like me out there singing its praises.
All right.
Talking about singing its praises, Jordan, get singing.
You know I love Batman the Animated Series. This is one that even as an adult I have gone back and watched some. I don't think I enjoy it in the same way that I enjoy like the Batman Animated Series today, but I mean I think it did such a great job of using all those different characters, setting up. It's just again like that dynamic for Spider-Man, the music, also a great theme song. And then we got the introduction of the Spider-Verse, which nowadays, I kind of hate Dakota, but back then
Right.
it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
And the Secret Wars stuff, I'd give this one an S for sure
I think
for
so.
me.
Yeah, I think it deserves it. Again,
I almost
another
feel
one-
like yeah.
I was gonna say
I
another
think
one
that's
where like
fair.
all the characters, like the villains, are kind of my mind's eye of, for the most part, what those villains look like.
Right.
Same voices and stuff. That's kind of what my Spider-Man always sounds like in the comics.
Oh yeah.
I think Mary Jane was a little bit of a miss. I don't know. I just remember like I think she's been so memed with like where she jumps out the window and she's like, "Oh, see, I knew you'd save me." I was like, "You're
Yeah.
crazy."
How much do you really love me?
Right.
Right. A little bit of a wild move, but
Right.
yeah, I think it's fair. All right, Ultimate Spider-Man. I don't know if I've seen any of this, Dakota.
I was gonna say I hate to end on one that we haven't watched, but I've seen it, but I don't feel like I've seen enough of it to judge it, because I think it seemed kind of goofy in some ways, but it's similar in like Teen Titans where it didn't have like the animated stuff, but I feel like he maybe like broke the fourth wall or something sometimes.
Yeah.
Or like he would just be talking to himself kind of a thing, but like he was
Right.
teamed up with other characters like I think Iron Fist, Nova, Power Man, and White Tiger maybe. I think that's what it is.
Okay.
So I think that's a kind of cool cast of characters, and maybe I need to go back and watch it. But yeah, I think I got to put this in the haven't watched.
Yeah, that's fair. I almost feel like we could put Justice League and Justice League Unlimited in an S, as I've been thinking
Okay.
about it, Dakota, because I think they're different enough. I don't think
Yeah.
it has to be one or the other.
Okay.
And I think that rounds out our balance pretty well.
Yeah,
'Cause I
I
think
think so.
I feel pretty good about this. Those are our rankings for our favorite animated Marvel and DC shows. You can let us know below in the comments. Are we way out of line? Did I talk Dakota into some terrible decisions and bringing his shows down? You can hop on the tier maker yourself in the description and make your own. Let us know what you end up with. So please be liking, sharing, and subscribing. And until next time, as always, stay strong.